Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Are You Listening with Abigail. I hope everyone is having a lovely day, a lovely week, and it's the end of the week if you're listening on Sunday when this goes live. I am 30, guys. I know in last week's episode I obviously had already turned 30, but when I recorded that it was the week before. Sorry, I have a frog in my throat. I basically, that had been recorded a week before. So I am officially 30 when I'm now recording this. And do you know what? I had such a lovely 30th birthday. I feel like when it comes to these big birthdays, you really feel like, is anyone watching? Oh, that's a big stretch, Corny. Corny just got up off the bed, decided to get a little bit closer and did like the biggest stretch ever. I didn't really know what I wanted to kind of do for my birthday. Like, me and my partner was always going away for a few nights. And other than that, I wasn't really that bothered. I think I've said so many times now that I've got a really big year of weddings and all different things. So I kind of actually wanted to keep the 30th celebrations just a little bit to the minimum because there's a lot going on. There really is. So yeah, the weekend before my birthday, we saw family, like my partner's mum. So my mum and dad and my sister and all of that did our presents, and genuinely I was so spoilt. It's absolutely craziness to think how spoiled I was, and I feel so grateful. I'm going to the theatre with my sister tomorrow. I haven't been to the theatre in such a long time, and anyone that knows me, like, dancing, performing and stuff was like such a humongous part of my childhood into my teenage years, into the first few years of my adult life. And going to the theatre for me is like genuinely one of my favourite things ever. I would go all the time if I could. Like, it is incredible. So we're seeing Moulin Rouge tomorrow, which, I just cannot wait. I cannot wait. So yeah, and then me and my partner went away. We stayed in the most beautiful place. The only way I can kind of describe it, it was almost like a shepherd's hut kind of vibe, but it was much more than that. Like, doing trips like that are so expensive in the UK, like really expensive, basically just for like a room with a little kitchen and maybe a jacuzzi outside, which is beautiful, but they're really expensive. So we wanted to do something just a little bit nicer. It's for our 30th, why not? So we stayed in, and I will actually... if you Google it, it will come up. But basically, we stayed in Nature's Edge cabin, which is in Worcester. It was amazing. It was amazing. Anyone that doesn't know, it's the guy that owns it, who is absolutely lovely. He basically has it's like the end of his garden, which backs onto all these beautiful fields. It has got a natural jacuzzi, like a hot tub, sauna, outdoor kitchen with a pizza oven. It's got all the little igloos with like a little outdoor bed. Like, we had a massage in one of them one night, and it was just glorious. Like, we didn't do a lot. I'm not joking. On my birthday, we pretty much sat and watched TV the whole time, which... it was just lovely. Like, it poured down. We obviously didn't have little dude with us, like our little baby with us, so he was at grandma's. And I just switched off. We just switched off. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. So if anyone wants to book, if anyone is looking to do a trip, to do something in the UK, Nature's Edge Cabin, it's very highly rated. He gave us like some crazy statistics. Like, it's like one of the top 10 places to get engaged in the world. Like, they get like 18 proposals there a month. And we were there for Valentine's weekend, not doing a proposal. We were there for our 30th, so I reckon that was probably disappointing, but it was beautiful and it was lovely. And yeah, this weekend I'm going to the theatre with my sister. I'm seeing my friends for lunch on Saturday, and then after that I think I'm done after that, to be honest. And then got some really lovely plans coming up. So this is 30 now. This is 30. I'm 30, flirty and thriving. So yeah, I had a wonderful birthday, and 30 feels really good. And talking of 30, I basically wanted to talk about how does this feel any different. One of my clients came in yesterday and we were talking about it, and she basically just said to me, she was like, So like, do you feel any different now you're 30? Like, do you actually feel any different? And I was just like, no, I don't feel any different. I felt different in the last kind of like year or so, kind of like build, or even 6 months, like building up to 30, just because I feel like you just start to care a lot less. You kind of mentally prepare for it. I did have one tiny little wobble internally. I felt like I had one tiny little wobble, and it is just the fact that like we are getting older, and like when I think back how quickly the last, say, like 10, 15, 20 years have gone, that's the thing that kind of scares me more than anything. So no, I don't feel any different at all. So I didn't expect to feel any different, but I do think there is always this question, like even my client who's only like 2 years younger than me, questioning, you do have this feeling of like, am I going to wake up feeling wiser? Am I going to wake up feeling, I don't know, a bit more grown up, like a bit more certain about things? And no, I feel exactly the same. So yeah, I just feel the same, to be honest. I feel completely the same. But like I say, we build up 30 because it's such a big milestone. Because I feel like when we're young, you turn 13, you're then a teenager for the first time. Then you turn 16, and 16, in the UK, 16 isn't that big of a deal. I feel like 16, for anyone who lives like in America, I feel like 16 is a bigger thing for you guys. So 16 isn't really a big deal for us here. Like, you can't do anything. Like, we can't drive until we're 17, but we still think of 16 being like a bigger birthday. It's bizarre. Then obviously 18 is a big one in the UK. You can go out, you can drink, you can do all these things. Then 21 is another big birthday, because although there's not actually anything different you can do, again, it's more of an American thing. 21 is obviously a big birthday for them because they can drink and things like that. In the UK, we've been doing that for 3 years by the time that you've got there. But at 21, especially where I live, I live just outside, I grew up just outside of London. There is a lot of places in London and clubs and bars and stuff that are over 21. So at 21, it's all of a sudden you can go everywhere. Like, you have no issue, and that's that. After 21, then your next milestone is 30. So like 25, yeah, it is like a decently big birthday because it's like halfway through your 20s. But it's not a big birthday though, is it? So like 30 is your next milestone. So you do build it up from 21, being like, 30 is 9 years away, whatever, it'll be fine. And then all of a sudden it comes back and it's like you actually get there and it is just another birthday. There's nothing actually different about it. Like, I still have washing to do. I still like procrastinate on doing, like, I need to clean the flat and I'm still procrastinating on it at 30. Like, I still am constantly like, I'm 30 now, so I need to make sure I do more exercise and things like that. But, we say that through our 20s, like nothing is any different. So yeah, I do think you do expect these milestone birthdays to just kind of hand us this almost like a clarity of like life, and it's not. It's any other birthday. It's the same. So then like things that didn't change, like I said, I've still got all these things to do, but you still go into them feeling this, like you don't have this big mindset shift. Still have the same insecurities that I always had, still feel like, a pressure around, and if anything, I feel more of a pressure now being in my 30s than I did in my 20s, because it was kind of like, okay, well in my 30s these things are going to happen, and it's like, okay, well I'm in my 30s now, so like a lot of them, I'm just, for example, say like getting engaged, getting married, having kids. I would like to get married before having kids. I've always said this, and I actually said for the first time the other day to like one of my clients, and I was like, I suppose my worry is that like we don't have control over when like we get engaged if you do it in the traditional way, right? I wait for my partner to propose and then we plan a wedding. And that makes me think, okay, well, we probably then won't have kids for at least like another 2 years. And then I'll be 32, which is a lovely time to have kids. But then it's like, okay, well, how many kids do I want to have? Like, you know, like that's where the pressure then starts setting in. Whereas when I was 29, or when you're 29 or 28, 27, you can still think ahead a little bit and you'll be like, it's fine, I'm still in my 20s. You know, I don't have to worry so much about this. So I do feel like there is a slight added pressure that I suppose you don't realise kind of creeps in really, really quickly, because you're like, oh God, like, I'm actually here now, you know? So what kind of has shifted? This isn't things that have changed. I've spoke about a few of these before. I think just to list a few, like I feel less rushed, not in the way I was just talking about, but in day-to-day life. I am consciously slowing down because I don't need to be in such a rush all the time. Most things don't require me to be in a rush. And like caring a lot less about kind of like impressing people. And that comes with just age as it is. So when you then get to your 30s, it's kind of like, look, you can just take me as I am. This is how I am. And you kind of trust your decisions more. Like when you make decisions in your 20s, I do feel like you really question them. Is this right? Is this not right? Whereas in your 30s, or you get to like your late 20s and your 30s, I do feel like you kind of just trust that it's like, look, I'm just going to trust the way that the choices I make and things like that. Yeah, I just feel like no one has it figured out whether they're in the 20s or the 30s anyway, so it doesn't actually make, you know, any difference really. So I'm going to keep this just a slightly shorter and sweeter one, but I wanted to kind of give any advice to someone that's approaching turning 30. You know, for example, like a few of my friends were, you know, spiraling about turning 30, or even clients that, like, I can tell when they're asking that it comes from a place of like maybe being a bit worried. I think the advice I would just give is that like it actually isn't any different. Like time is a made up thing and timelines are a made up thing. Yes, there are timelines in terms of like our anatomy and the things that happen, but I do feel like overall people are having kids later, and I don't feel that you should just push to do these things such as like have kids and get married and do them really quickly just for the sake of getting them done before 30, because, you know, that's how you see like divorce rates being really high and things like that. I just think being a bit patient and just trusting the timeline, your timeline, is the best thing that you can do. Like you will deal with any of these things as they come, you know, like you don't need to feel like you need to like rush to get all of these things done. And like I say, timeline is literally a made up thing, and just because everyone's doing this and this at this time and this age, that's just what we've been told is the what we should be doing. And that's not to say that like I understand why people would want to be doing that, because I get it, like I very much feel like that, but I do feel like so much can change in a year, and I've learned that from friends, from family, from myself, from clients, that when you actually break down a year and how much changes and how much you can do in a year, whether that's good or bad, it actually is very, or for me, I find it actually very grounding, because the amount that happened in the last year from last February to now, if I told myself last February what had happened, I would be like, what the fuck? You're lying. Compared to where I'm at now. And even friends that, you know, have met partners, had babies, got engaged, like in a fast period of time, when before they really thought, I'm going to be single for a while now, or I don't know what I'm going to do because I'm going to be on my own and things like that. And then literally in the space of like a year or a year and a half, they've had kids, they've got engaged, they're like with someone brand new. Things happen so quickly and things change so quickly that putting this pressure on yourself, it just is useless. There's no point, because it always works out. Up till this point, everything has always worked out, so it's going to work out. So that's the advice I would give. And also, like, it just doesn't have to be any different from any other age. It really doesn't, if you don't want it to. It can. You can make it into, you know, something that's big and change massive things about yourself and do this and do that, and absolutely incredible if that's what you want to do with it. But if you don't, then don't, you know? So yeah, that's the advice I would give. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. I actually can't believe I'm now in my 30s. Absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. But I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. I hope everyone is having a lovely Sunday or whatever day you are listening to this on. Please, if you are listening on Spotify, as always, subscribe, follow, blah, blah, blah. All of the good stuff. Send it to someone that you think would enjoy this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. And yeah, I'll see you all in my next one. Bye, guys.